it up and be my own man. Credit Karma say my score around in the six. I heard that paying mortgage way less than paying rent. Equity, tax breaks, make no mistakes. Money piling out, watch my co-workers hate. Anyway, rate increase, no way. Just got a raise on my job, more pay. I'm on Realtor.com, Zillow every day. I think about it all the time on my lunch break. When I want it, best believe I'ma get it. I'ma get me a house, it might take a minute. My boy Los got a VA loan, he a vet. I might holler at him, ask him what the next step. I'ma get that, I'ma get that, I'ma get that, I'ma get it. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Ed Averett with the Averhome Group, Fathom Realty. Welcome to the Process Podcast. Today we have a special guest, Ryan Lance, with us. Welcome to the show, Ryan. How you doing, man?
Ed, what's going on, man? Doing well. Excited to be here.
Oh, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. We're going to talk about using Ribbon Home in a competitive real estate market. It's pretty wild out here. It's like the wild, wild west, man. It's crazy. A lot of these sellers, they want cash and a quick close. That's what they want. So this market, no matter where you are, is pretty crazy right now. Highest and best on just about every resale. But there is a fix, right? We have our rich uncle that can save the day, Ribbon Home. So help is on the way, right?
Oh, man, we're here. We're here to save the day, here to level the playing field.
Cool, cool, cool. So tell me a little bit about Ribbon Homes and how long you've been in business.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Thanks for having us on. Really appreciate it. I'm excited to kind of bring this to your sphere. You know, whether you're an agent on the call, a buyer, a lender, Ribbon exists to make homeownership more achievable. You know, that's what wakes us up in the morning. We do that by empowering real estate agents and loan officers the ability to support their clients and making an all-cash, non-contingent offer on the house that they'd like to purchase. And so, you know, my question to you is, you know, how much more likely is your offer to be accepted when you're cash and non-contingent, right? If you're a buyer listening, right, or an agent listening on the call. So that's what we're here to do, man. We're here to help that buyer have a competitive edge in the market. And I'm excited today to talk about, you know, buyers and defining the challenges that they're facing in the market, as well as how that Ribbon solution plays into it.
Good stuff, good stuff. And you guys are very credible. You do business with a lot of builders, lenders, attorneys, and realtors all over, right?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we do. We've worked with some really great brands in the space. You know, these companies love our approach to real estate, and that is to keep the agent, the lender, these builders at the center of the transaction, and making sure that the consumer is able to make the best decision financially on their dream house, right? And that's making homeownership achievable. It is, man, and something we monitor very closely is a customer experience. We want to make sure folks you know, leave with a smile on their face, grab that key, man, and get to walk into their dream house for the first time. That's what excites us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, there's different ways that you can use this platform. I'll probably use it different scenario, probably almost every way that you can use it. So one way to use it is basically turning a regular offer into a cash deal in order to compete against other cash offers. Can you walk us through what this looks like?
Yeah, 100%. So you nailed it right on the head, right? So let's talk about how Ribbon can differentiate your offer. Okay, so if you're an agent on the call making a Ribbon offer, if you're a buyer thinking about, hey, you know what, I want to upgrade my offer in the marketplace to cash non-contingent, a Ribbon cash offer is different in the market because of two reasons, right? If you think about a multiple offer situation and you kind of put yourself in the shoes of a seller, if they're looking at three offers on the table, you've got a conventional offer, maybe a standard cash offer, and you've got Ribbon's cash offer, and they're looking at all of them. The difference between ours and a standard cash offer is that a standard cash offer can walk from a transaction 1 day, 2 days prior to a closing, right? Which can bring a lot of, you know, uncertainty to a transaction or frustrations, right? A bad customer experience because now we're falling out of contract. That's hard on a buyer. That's hard on a seller. Ribbon's cash is guaranteed to close. And so we guarantee the sale for a seller and for the buyer once we're through the inspection period of the contract. And so that's the big game changer for us, is because finally, when a seller's accepting your Ribbon offer, they know, hey, either buyer's buying this house or Ribbon's going to purchase this house. I know I can pack my bags, schedule my moving trucks, and not worry about, you know, what if I, you know, pack everything up, I don't want to go back on the market, right, and have to reset my house. I can know I'm able to get to my next property. So that's the big differentiator for us, whether you're a buyer that needs to sell first or a buyer that, is just a first-time buyer looking to make a cash non-contingent offer. That same rule will apply.
Okay, good stuff. And another way to use it would be, it's almost like insurance on guarantee that your offer, even though the client is still going to use their lender, will close the deal. Can you walk us through that scenario? I recently just used that on a deal that I had in Atlanta. I had a client that just kept on getting outbidded, and then we were able to put ribbon on the deal, and we got an accepted offer. So thank you for that. So my client is very happy.
That's awesome to hear, man. That is, look, if you're a buyer on the call, it can be demotivating, right? It's challenging if you're making 3 or 4 offers and you're struggling to win, right? So I think, Ed, you used it in the perfect example of, how do you help your buyer go get the house that they really want, not having to settle for like a 6th, 7th, 8th best option, right? For that first-time buyer, so to kind of answer that question, in order to qualify for our cash, in order to go see the rich uncle, right, you really still need to speak with your loan officer. And if you don't have one, get with Ed on some good folks in the region to speak with. But the buyer needs to be pre-approved with a lender, right? We want to make sure they're eligible to purchase this home. Once we have that, we can take that approval letter and convert it to Ribbon's cash. That'll enable you as the agent and the buyer to go make a cash non-contingent offer. And typically what we're doing is we're going to negotiate maybe a 21 to 45 day closing so that we're giving the lender enough time to be able to access the mortgage before needing to access Ribbon's cash. The reason the offer is still competitive, though, is because Ribbon's going to remove the financial contingencies in the offer. And if you're on the call and you don't know what a financing contingency means, it just, there's essentially more risk of that property falling out of contract, right? So if you're a seller receiving offers, you want to know, hey, what are my net proceeds and what is the percentage or the likelihood that this will close? Ribbon's going to give both, right? You can make a strong competitive offer, but you can also guarantee the sale, giving the sellers more certainty. And so that's exactly what we call our offer upgrade product.
Gotcha.
That's great use case for those specific buyers.
Gotcha. Also, you can use it if a seller is listing their home, like you just spoke to earlier, and they want to buy another home and they need to remove that sales contingency in order to be competitive with other offers, right? That sales contingency right about now in this market, a lot of sellers, they're not feeling that. So because they don't have to, they can go with someone else that doesn't have a contingency. So just talk to us through that.
Yeah, you nailed it right on the head, right? That's exactly what's happening in the market. There's so many buyers, right? Buyer demand is through the roof. Inventory levels are so low. Sellers now are really in a great negotiating spot, right? They can take the strongest offer on the table. When you're home sale contingent, that adds risk of what if a client can't sell their existing home in time. So we do have what we call the freedom to buy, move in, and then sell, which is great for those buyers that, are a little bit worried about what if I can't perfectly time 2 sales? Ed, I'm sure you're seeing it, right? How many times have you shown a property and if the buyer doesn't make a decision, it's gone? Are you seeing that many times? Right. So it's, that's the challenge. If you're a seller and you put your existing house on the market without finding your new one, there's a strong chance that you might sell this home too quickly and then have to move into temporary housing, right? Move one time, then go move again when you find your dream house that you want to buy. And now you're paying storage fees. That's a tough transition. And then you add on top of that, a larger family, right? School's happening, life's happening. We just feel like, hey, there could be a better customer experience here that allows a seller to still sell their existing home through you, right, as their agent for as much as possible, but also win their dream house with a Ribbon cash offer. And still, look, you can work to time both sales, or if you really enjoy the convenience, you can go move into our new house and then work on selling your existing home, through you as the agent on the open market for as much as possible. So, all that to say, Ed, one thing we want to make sure we're doing is listening to you and your buyers or sellers and understand how do they want to transition and transact, right? And then we can fit the mold for them.
Gotcha. And you guys, you're not trying to cut the lenders out or the agents. I mean, they still can work with their lender, whether it's, before they close or up to 6 months after, right? So, I mean, everyone that's involved can still stay involved, right?
It's a great point. You nailed it. Yep, exactly. We want the consumer to be able to pick their, which agent, which loan officer is best for them. And we want them to have that expertise in navigating these types of waters, right? It's a challenging environment, challenging market environment. We feel that an agent a buyer is best able to pursue home ownership through their choice of agent and lender.
Gotcha.
So it's exactly like you said it, right? We're the rich uncle. We're not a mortgage firm, nor are we a practicing real estate firm. We're just here to help that transition and make home ownership more achievable.
Absolutely. Lawrence Tucker with Cardinal Financial said, "What's up?" So,
Lars, what's going on, man?
yes. So what is the cost involved with using this program, and how does the client pay?
Great question. We can break it down specific to each buyer. We're very transparent, though, in our cost of business. So right now, depending on which state you're in, there's two fees involved. There's what we call a ribbon fee, which is either 2% or 2.4% of a contract price, depending on which state you're in, of that house to buy. And so if you need Ribbon to reserve the house on your behalf with our cash, remember, we can. And we'll give that client up to 180 days to then access their mortgage, right? Call Lars, get your mortgage, and buy it back from Ribbon within the 180-day period. And that event, it would either be 2% or 2.4, depending on your state. And you would be renting the new house from Ribbon until you buy it back, right? Why are you renting? Because we're going to be covering holding costs on that specific property. And so that is what we call the freedom to buy, move in, and then sell. The second cash product is that offer upgrade that you were explaining earlier that you used in Georgia, just to help your first-time buyer get the competitive edge and win the contract. There's a lot of advantages to our pricing in that. It's only 1% of the contract price of that house to buy. And so that would be 1% that would need to be negotiated into the transaction. And if your buyer can access their mortgage without needing Ribbon's cash, they buy the house and it's only 1% of it.
And usually that's taken out of their earnest money, right?
You got it. Yep. So that's negotiable in the transaction. Either we got to get the seller to agree and to pay some seller paid closing costs, or the buyer will be responsible for that Ribbon fee in their earnest money. Exactly.
Okay. Are there certain repair requirements for a property to be approved through Ribbon?
Good question. We can currently help 150 to 700K. So single families, townhomes, condos, those are good for us. When we do win the contract and we're in that inspection process, Ribbon will ask to review it along with the agent and the buyer. The main reason is if we need to reserve the house, we want to make sure it's in good structural foundation. There's no safety, hazardous health issues in that home. But Ed, the buyers will still be working closely with you, and you'll be making sure that this is a good future investment for that buyer moving forward.
Gotcha. Typically, how long does it take for one of these deals to close?
Yeah, good question. I think, if you're on the call today, there's really two ways to leverage Ribbon. You can go Ribbon cash and quick, right? That can help give us some competitive edge, or you can go cash and go a little bit longer to buy some time to either sell an existing house or secure financing. That totally is in your control as the agent. As far as how quick we can help make a Ribbon cash offer, the great thing about us is, yes, are we a technology company in the real estate space? We absolutely are. Are we relationship focused? 100%. So every agent and every buyer on this call, if you're thinking about learning more about the Ribbon program, you'll have one specific Ribbon advisor on our team to help navigate that transaction with you. We've turned around offers within an hour, within 1 to 2 hours. So we can get that job done for you guys. We always say, hey, let's be proactive in this. If you've got a property that you're eyeing, Ed, you've talked about it, right? The market's moving fast. Call Ed, right? Get the property in the system. Let's see what that offer would look like with Ribbon. And then the buyer can make the best decision on which offer strategy is going to be best for that specific home.
Absolutely. Tanika Burris, who is also an amazing loan officer in the market. I know you probably heard of her before. She said, I think Ribbon is a great program for those that need additional time beyond the contract. So talk to me about that. I know that's going to be on a case-by-case basis, and the team has to review that. Talk to me about a couple of scenarios or a scenario where that was the case.
Great question. Those types of scenarios, each buyer is different, right? If their closing potentially is being delayed, right? Or their lender saying, hey, we need, to season an additional pay stub, right? Or maybe this client went from W-2 to W-2. There's a lot of nuances with underwriting and being able to qualify the buyer for a mortgage. So we do have to look at that on a case-by-case basis. They will need to be, credit eligible for a specific loan type. But if they need additional time, we'd have to look at that a little bit on a case by case, truly, to see how and when we could help. But we have some first time buyers go the route where they lead with Ribbon Cash, and then we buy the home, and then they work to secure their financing in that 180-day window. They just need to be mortgage eligible on that front end so that we're setting them up for success to be able to buy that house and pursue home ownership.
And they can still use their down payment assistance programs and all of that and still use this program, right?
Absolutely. We have a lot of folks still leverage that. I would say we see a lot of, buyers going that route, potentially have Ribbon go lead with cash, buy the new home, and then they work to utilize that down payment on the back end. But that is totally at an agent and a buyer's and lender's control to how you guys want to negotiate that. Spot on.
Okay. Sounds good. Now, what states are you currently doing business in?
Yeah, great question. So currently we are able to help a client make a Ribbon Cash offer in South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, and Texas. Okay, so those are cash enabled states for us to be able to help a client go win.
Okay. And hopefully you'll be able to expand to some other markets.
And and hopefully got some viewers outside of those states. They gotta knock down the door. We're coming. We're actively looking at specific markets where buyers are facing these types of challenges. We want to be able to be there for them in order to pursue home ownership. So as soon as we're ready to launch more, we got to get back on here and update the folks.
Absolutely. And what I love about Ribbon is that you guys are available, that your reps are available, because this market, you have to put an offer in like quick, like we just discussed, you'll miss out. So one thing that I like about my rep is that it doesn't matter what time of night, she's there to provide me with that documentation so I can submit an offer. So you guys are great there. Talk to me about the valuation that you guys do on the property. So how does that work?
Great question, Ed. So when you have a buyer that wants to make a Ribbon offer, part of the process on our side is Ribbon wants to make sure that, look, if we're going to allow someone to have access to our cash, we want to make sure we're making responsible offers on that specific home. But we get it. The market's super hot, right? So we have a team internally that will review that specific home along with you, Ed, right? Like you're the market expert. So we're going to lean on your experience in these markets as well to see where do we feel comfortable in making an offer up to. The great thing about our team is we are going to review that specific property and what other units have sold nearby, right? Specifically around like the last 6 months, what has sold in order to determine what that maximum offer price we can make on that home would be. And so, for example, you might be looking at a house on the call that's $250,000, and you throw it to the Ribbon system and say, "Hey, Ribbon, what could I go with cash on that specific home?" Ribbon might say, "Hey, you could offer, $257,000 if you'd like on a $250,000 list." That negotiation will be in the agent and the buyer's control. We just couldn't exceed $257,000 on that specific house in that specific example. So that is why, look, if you're thinking about making an offer or you're thinking about, getting off the sidelines and looking to buy a house, reach out, take that next step and see what that could look like to make a strong offer in the market.
Gotcha. I love it. Love it. Definitely love it. So if you're a buyer or a seller, and you can reach out to me or my team on the number below if you're interested in this program. But if you're a realtor, how could someone get in touch with you to get a Ribbon rep and just to get more information about the program?
Great question. Yeah. So you can visit a couple ways. You can visit ribbonhome.com. You can go in there and create your own free Ribbon agent account, right? There's no charge to adding buyers, adding properties, seeing if this is a great fit for your client. We call it the sandbox, right? Go play in it, see what's the best way to, and the best offer strategy moving forward. When you do create that, you're going to get your key point of contact. So Ed, as you mentioned, you've got your Ribbon advisor in your back pocket. And it sounds like she's there for you after hours and weekends, right? That's what we believe in. We want to make sure we can still support you. And if that specific advisor is off on a weekend, we're going to have a team to still step in and support. And so very similar to how you might have a, lender, title, attorney, inspector in your back pocket, you want your Ribbon advisor in your back pocket. And that's the relationship piece on top of our technology that we feel like is invaluable. And we've got a team to support all along the way.
Gotcha. And I can attest for that. I mean, I've been working with you guys for, a while now, a little over a year and a half. So I mean, I love the customer service. I love the turnaround time. And you can use this program with, it doesn't matter if it's a resale or new construction, right?
You got it, man. Absolutely. Builders really enjoy our program. And builders right now, if you're a buyer that needs to sell first on this call, it's just tough. They're not super open to taking a home sale contingent offer. Ribbon can remove that for the client in order to go ahead and have the freedom to build before you sell, kind of how we like to say it. Builders are definitely an option for us, as well as resale.
And you can also lock in at that lower price because, these builders are going up every so many sales. So if you had to wait in order to go under contract, it may cost you $5, $10, some cases $20,000. So if you can purchase now, you can lock into that lower price.
We're seeing the same thing, man. That's a great call out. Yep. So taking action, if you're thinking new construction, we strongly suggest taking action now, lead with cash, get that property under contract. If it's to be built, then you're locked in and hopefully can reap some of the benefits of some appreciation in that time frame.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Ryan, for being on the show. And I want to thank everybody for watching. We'll see you next week.
And I appreciate it, man.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
The rent man done went up on the rent man. He ain't about to get another red cent, man. I'm about to flip the script and change the game plan. I'm about to boss it up and be my own man. Credit Karma say my score around in the six.